Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Madeka Bandhu Matsangin Madguru Matmahadana Manistaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, my companion and my teacher, O my great wealth and deliverer, O my good fortune and bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. Ganantarat Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. We are reading today 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 19, verse 33. Please repeat after me. Tribihi. Three. Karmahai. By steps. Imam. All those. Lokan. Three planetary systems. Vishvakaya. Becoming the universal form. Kramishyati. Gradually he will expand. Gradually. Gradually he will expand. Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Sarvasvam. Everything. Vishnave. Unto Lord Vishnu. Dattva. After giving charity. Muda. Oh, you rascal! Vartisyase. You will execute your means of livelihood. Your means of livelihood. Katam. How? Tribikramai imam lokan. Tribikramai imalokan. Vishvakaya kramishyati. Vishvakaya kramishyati. Sarvasvam Vishnave Dattva. Mudavartisyase katam. Please. Trivikramai imam lokan. Vishvakaya kramishyati. Sarvasvam Vishnave Dattva. Mudavartisyase katam. Vishvakaya kramishyati. Sarvasvam Vishnave Dattva. Mudavartisyase katam. One lady. Tribikramai imam lokan. Vishvakaya kramishyati. Sarvasvam Vishnave Dattva. Mudavartisyase katam. Thank you. So translation and purport. Or maybe before we read the translation, I can give a little overview where we are in the Bhagavatam. We have Bali Maharaj, who was the emperor into the dynasty of the demons, but he was a devotee. He was actually from the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, so he had some Vaishnava blood in his heart. But at that stage, the demons had conquered the entire universe. Bali Maharaj was possessing like all the islands, everything. And the demigods, they were asking the Lord for help because they were not getting anything anymore. So Vamanadev appeared from Kashyapa Muni and Diti, or Aditi, one of the two. But anyway, Vamanadev appeared, and he had a very, very beautiful form, like a dwarf. And he came to Bali Maharaj to more or less get back the whole kingdom. And when Vamanadev came, he was just so beautiful and so effulgent that Bali Maharaj immediately offered him respect and offered him a place for sitting. And then Bali Maharaj said, "Oh, Vamana, young dwarf, I see you have come to ask me for something. So please ask me for something. I'm ready to give you whatever you want." And Vamanadev is very beautiful. He is actually not immediately asking what he wants, but he first starts to praise all the dynasty of Bali Maharaj, and especially Prahlad Maharaj. And I think it's in this place that suddenly we get information about Nishinga Lila in this particular chapter. And there was a very amazing, we were reading last time, amazing situation when it was described that Hiranyakashipu wanted to kill Vishnu and was following Vishnu everywhere. And Vishnu became anxious. And Vishnu entered in the heart of Hiranyakashipu through his nostril. So it must have been that Hiranyakashipu was inhaling, and Vishnu came and hid it in his heart. And then Hiranyakashipu could not find Vishnu anywhere, and he thought maybe he's dead. So that like a very, and there was this beautiful, because it was written that Vishnu was anxious. He had anxiety, and usually Vishnu should not be an anxious person. He's God after all. But Prabhupada was writing in the purport that actually Vishnu was anxious, but not for himself. He was anxious about Hiranyakashipu, who will get really bad reaction of what he's doing. That's very nice how Prabhupada sometimes give like a deeper understanding. So anyway, Bali Maharaj is now asking, and he's asking for 3 steps of land. And no, Vamanadev. And Bali Maharaj say, "Oh, you are stupid. You can ask much more. Why are you asking so less? I have all the planets belong to me. I can give you much more. Why you ask only 3?" And there was this beautiful verse that Vamanadev answered, if I cannot be satisfied with 3 steps of land, how can I be satisfied with the whole world? So I should not ask for more that I actually need. And now what is happening, I don't know from yesterday's verse where exactly it was, but now there is Shukracharya coming into scene. Was he there already yesterday?
Yeah. He said, now he's like, hey, don't do it.
Yeah.
He will take away everything.
Yeah. So it's very similar than the verse of today, than the verse from tomorrow. So the verse goes as follows. Shukracharya speaks. You have promised to give him 3 steps of land in charity, but when you give it, he will occupy the 3 worlds. It's interesting, the word by word, it's Vishvakaya, becoming the universal form. So he's saying this small dwarf, he will become the universal form, like super big, and will take everything away. You are a rascal. Guru Maharaj tells to, to Bali Maharaj, you are a rascal. You don't know what a great mistake you have made. It is said that actually he already promised that he will give him charity, but they were supposed to make like a sankalpa that will seal the promise. So at that time, he could still decide if he would follow the promise. He could still say, oh no, sorry, I changed my mind, because it had not been sealed. So it was still possible. Therefore, now Shukracharya is using strong words. You are a rascal. You do not know what great mistake you have made. After giving everything to Lord Vishnu, so he could see that's Lord Vishnu, you will have no means of livelihood. How then shall you live? Purport. Bali Maharaj might argue that he had promised only 3 steps of land, but Shukracharya, being very learned Brahmana, immediately understood that this was the plan of Hari, who had falsely appeared there as a brahmachari. The word Muda Vartisyase Katam revealed that Shukracharya was a brahmana of the priestly class. So that means it could be some brahmana who are not from a priestly class, maybe doctors, astrologers, or Such a priestly brahmana are mostly interested in receiving remuneration from their disciples. Therefore, when Shukracharya saw that Bali Maharaj had risked all his possessions, he understood that this would cause havoc not only to the king, but also to the family of Shukracharya, who was dependent on Maharaj Bali's mercy. This is the difference between a Vaishnava and a Smarta Brahmana. A Smarta Brahmana is always interested in material profit, whereas a Vaishnava is interested only in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From this statement of Shukracharya, it appears that he was in all respects a Smarta Brahmana interested only in personal gain. The verse again, you have promised to give him 3 steps of land in charity, but when you give it, he will occupy the 3 worlds. You are a rascal. You do not know what a great mistake you have made. After giving everything to Lord Vishnu, you will have no means of livelihood. How then shall you live? Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padam Bujo Radha Madana Mohano Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes. Therefore, I offer him my respectful obeisances. Okay, so we see today Shukracharya is getting angry, and it's very beautiful how Prabhupada mentioned, and also beautiful to see Shukracharya tells Bali Maharaj, you are a fool, you will lose everything. Like he don't care for himself. But Balima, you will lose everything. But then Prabhupada writes in the purport that Shukracharya was actually getting his livelihood from Bali Maharaj. He was supported by Bali Maharaj, and therefore he was actually much more afraid of his livelihood that will not be there anymore when Bali Maharaj lose everything. And in the purport also, Prabhupada speaks about smarta brahmanas, or brahmanas that are mainly interested about money or getting a livelihood of their priestly occupation, and Vaishnavas who actually their main concern is to please the Lord. And in India we see a lot of those brahmanas who are mainly interested for livelihood, which is also not so easy for them to manage their life because they don't get so much donations, so sometimes they have to really not let you go until you give some donation. But still, a Vaishnava will be depending on the Lord. And we see Bali Maharaj, who is actually a Vaishnava in his heart, even though he's in the family of demons or dynasty of demons, he will actually be very happy, and it will be easy for him to actually give his full life to Vamanadev. Even if he loses everything, he don't care. He wants to surrender. And this is like the devotee, even if maybe sometimes he might not receive much, but he will always depend on the Lord, and he will always have the trust that the Lord will provide for what I need, and what everything will come. It's a high level of surrender. Not everyone, we cannot fake it. It's not something that we can do easily, but we can see, for example, in Vrindavan, there are so many sages, so many saintly persons who live totally dependent on the Lord. They go, we saw yesterday on the slideshow, this Dina Krishna Das Baba, who was living in his kutir, is going to beg a little food in the morning and in the evening, and whatever he gets, he's happy with that, and he's just chanting, he's just fully depending on the Lord. So this is more like the Vaishnava type. The Vaishnava is depending fully on the Lord, and he's not harassing other, and he do not have so many other motives behind what he's doing. He's trying really to please the Lord. And we can see in our life, we can have many different motives sneaking in. Like, okay, I will go to the morning program because no one else is there. That could be a motive. That is not the motive. Should be because I want to give pleasure to Radha Madan Mohan, because I want to give pleasure to Prabhupada. Let's just give like a simple example. There are so many times we might do this. I need something from devotee ABC. So the devotee ABC ask me something. So I will do, because I know after I can ask devotee ABC, because I also need something from the other devotee. So often actually in our life we might act in such a way that we know there is some particular result for us. And that was really the calculation of Shukracharya. I take this as a side point. I don't want to dive into that, but it shows how sometimes it's nice to introspect our real motivation behind what we are actually doing, and eventually make a mentality adjustment, like Maharaj often mentioned. So we check, and if the motivation is not the right one, then we just adjust. But there is another point I would like to take for today's lecture, I think, which is like very, very powerful, because Shukracharya is the guru of Bali Maharaj, and now he is preaching to Bali, don't surrender to the Lord. So this is not really a good guru. A good guru should preach, you surrender to the Lord. But Shukracharya is now becoming a false guru. He's preaching. He's actually, Shukracharya is quite advanced. And Prabhupada writes, he knew the Vedic literature quite well. And Shukracharya could notice, this is Vamanadev, this is Hari. He could, so he must have been quite advanced to some extent, but still he was afraid of his own situation. It was ready to go against the Lord and preach to Bali, don't surrender to the Lord. And this is sometimes, so that's, we will look at this today. We'll see of who is actually a false guru, and then we will see who is the strongest of all the false gurus, and then we will see how to protect ourselves from false gurus. So, who do you think? I mean, I was thinking there are many types of false guru that can be there in our life. Anyone has idea of who could be a false guru in our life?
The mind.
Oh, you found already the point number 2. Okay, but yeah. That's too obvious. Okay, who else than the mind could be a false guru?
Your parents.
Okay. In which sense?
In the sense that they, for example, now in my world, they're not Vaishnavas, so they never bring you like to the point of, hey, you have to surrender. No, you learn more that it's just about me and mine, and just like fulfill the things which you have to do, like the standard things in the material world. So it's kind of false guru, like Putana.
Okay. Any other false guru we might meet today or tomorrow? Okay. Yeah. They're like pseudo spiritualists who make like concoction of things. Then it might be dangerous to listen from them. Thank God we don't meet them too often, but it can be actually dangerous. Therefore, actually, very often Prabhupada will speak a little strongly against Mayavad, so that everyone will be knowing, okay, here I should be careful. It could pollute my consciousness. It could bring doubts in my own path. Yes.
So sometimes they also go to shops and sometimes advertisements and something like this.
Okay. It is said that actually, who is a guru? Guru is a person that you accept as an authority, a person that you accept to listen from. And at that time, if the guru is false, then it can actually affect the heart. There is an amazing story that Radhanath Swami mentioned of a devotee who started to follow some self-care workshop or something like this, like self-improvement workshop. And he was telling all the devotees in the temple, it's just so good. You will chant your holy name much better. It's just like so much helpful. And he was really preaching to everyone. This was so good. And those giving those workshops, they were actually very intelligent and very bright people, but they were actually not devotees. And so they were not preaching so much about surrender to God, but more, you can do it on your own. And then slowly, the devotee drifted away from Krishna consciousness. And Radhanath Swami was explaining that he was visiting Bombay, and he asked, where is this devotee? And they explained a little bit the situation, and he called the devotee to know how the devotee is doing. And the devotee said, Maharaj, do you know my latest realization? My latest realization is that if God exists or not exist, this doesn't matter at all. That was his realization, that actually there is no need of God. So even though those people were like powerful people and very clear, most probably in the mode of goodness, because they were atheists, then slowly the devotee lost his faith in Krishna consciousness. So that was an example I found quite strong. Whoever we accept as an authority, that if they are not actually devotees or servants of the Lord, then it might be we might be contaminated by the false guru. Anyone who preach against God is a false guru. We have also like mundane religion who preach like just follow the rules, just pay something to the institution and you will be saved, and things like this. These are also considered just follow the mechanics and don't think so much about the inner side, because spirituality is really the inner inclination of the heart. All the external practices, processes, rules, they are there to help us to develop this proper mood. But if the proper mood is left aside and we see only the rules, then this is also actually, if we preach only like this is also not favorable. There was my Shiksha Guru when I was a young Bhakta. He was telling me that sometimes the devotee made the mistake, they placed the rules and regulation on the altar. That was God. That was not the deity, but rules and regulation were on the altar. That was the main thing, which is the same principle. Rules and regulation are there to help us, but we should not lose what is actually really going to please the Lord. Okay, so I was thinking, okay, there are not so many of those false guru nowadays around, but yeah, the mind is actually a very, very strong false guru. Did you hear the voice of the false guru? Did you hear the voice of the mind telling you things, discouraging you for devotional service? So let's see, let's have a little brainstorm. What are the voice of the mind that when the mind is in the role of the false guru? What can the mind tell us?
In the morning, don't get up.
Okay, okay.
The first thing is, oh no, stay in the dreamland. Everything is nice there.
Okay, okay, good. Yes.
My mind is getting offensive then. Because especially if I don't have time for reading, then the mind.
So what is the mind telling you?
What? He's saying something about devotees what is not favorable.
Okay, okay, good. What else could be the mind as false guru?
Encouraging you, so he's telling like you will not succeed, like you can't, you're not doing this properly.
Yeah, very good.
You're not worthy.
Yeah. I thought also sometimes the mind can really be in the false guru role when we actually see people as friends and enemies. Like oh, this devotee agree with me, he's my friend. This devotee do not agree with me, he is my enemy. I don't like with him. I will not associate because he don't agree with my particular point of view. So this type of judgmental friend enemy, this is actually very much what Prahlad Maharaj brings in his prayers, that or in the whole lila, that he doesn't want to be part of this friend and enemies vision. One thing I also thought, it was once I got a message that's not directly from Krishna consciousness, but that was a poster. It was written, the 3 cancer of the mind. And that was complaining, criticizing, and comparing. And I found it makes a lot of sense. Like, for example, just criticizing, and this like what you mentioned, Venuya. We usually, before we criticize, we actually judge in the mind. We place judgment on people. Oh, he's like this, he's like that, and then criticizing it when it's actually come out. And I was listening recently Srila Prabhupada's memory from Nanda Kumar Prabhu. And he was the personal servant of Prabhupada. And once Prabhupada told him, you are the king of fault finder. You are the king of fault finder. You are the king of those who find faults in others. And so he had this tendency. He used to be judgmental, and immediately when someone will do something wrong, he would see it and he would immediately point it out. Now they were in India, and there was a home program in a family of Indian men. And the Indian man said, let's go to the local temple. There is a Radha Krishna temple just close by. Let's go to the local temple and go and take darshan. So they went there and take darshan, and the temple was not clean, not very dirty, not well kept at all. And the pujari was very strange people, a little weird type of person. Like when he offered the water, when he had to, he just turned and threw the water in the face of all the devotees, like a little strange type of guy. And then they drove back. They were in the car, and he was in the car with Prabhupada. And he said, Prabhupada, can I ask you a question about this temple? And then he said, Prabhupada said, later. So he did not want to mention anything in front of the other devotees. And then later, when Nanda Kumar was alone with Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, so what was your question? And Nanda Kumar said, my question was, is Lord Krishna present in this temple? You told us cleanliness, punctuality, but is the Lord present in this temple? And Prabhupada said, yes, he is present. And Prabhupada said, I could see this pujari, even though he was a little strange, but he had love for Krishna in his heart. So definitely the Lord is there. So Nanda Kumar was linking this with his fault-finding nature, and how actually so easily we might pass judgment on people, but ultimately, what do we know? What is their heart, and how much their heart is connected to loving Krishna? Of course, they are usually what the way a person behaves shows what is in the heart, but not always. Therefore, it's actually good to not listen the false guru of the mind when he's actually passing judgment on others, and what to say about criticism. Criticism, this is the mad elephant offense that is really like destroying the whole thing. We spend hours and hours and hours in chanting, in doing so many activities, and then we just like spoil the whole thing with stupid criticism of others. And sometimes we mask our criticism very well. We say, oh, this devotee is such a nice devotee, but, and blah, 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 blah. And so we show, yeah, I like this devotee, and then it gives us the license for criticism. So this is something we should not follow the mind when the mind goes there. And it starts with passing judgment in the mind already there. If we stop it, then it's much likely that we will not criticize. But when you let the judgments passing in our mind, then there is actually a lot of chance that it will come out in a way of criticism. And then there is complaining. We do with Vajanti, we were trained by the Grihastha Vision team in helping couples in their who wants to marry and like this. And there is a very nice part which is called turning complaint into request. Because when you complain, usually the other person who hears the complaint is immediately on the false ego and immediately ready to argue against. But instead of complaining, if one places a request, oh, I have a request, could you please maybe next time do in this way or that way, then the other person is not immediately on the false ego, and there is much more possibility that one can, find a way to solve it. And that's not only with couples, in a relationship with friends, in a relationship with other devotees. If instead of complaining, we can actually give a request, a nice request, it's much more efficient than complaining. And the last one was comparing. And that's also amazing how often our mind is comparing. Okay, I was in India. Now I'm in Germany. Oh, it was better. The weather was better here, and here is colder than there. And it is said that comparing is actually the stealer of happiness, because you might have everything that you have to be happy, but then you start to compare someone else who might be more happy, and then you just get less happy because you compare yourself. So this is, I mean, that was some reflection I had, how our mind is just so often going into those tracks, and how it's actually important to have a mental hygiene, that we actually sort out those voices of the mind. And when the mind is speaking against our progress in Krishna consciousness, that we are able to actually correct before we impede ourselves on the path. Okay, so how to protect ourselves from the false guru? Who have an idea, especially the one of the mind? How one can protect ourselves from the voice of the mind?
Chanting Hare Krishna.
Chanting Hare Krishna, that's good. It works. If we chant good, it works. The mind gets on the stand back. The mind gets a little bit as in the back. Yes, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's also for me it's reading at least 1 hour Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Because I really feel it's not that I basically have this this attitude to find faults as not more so years ago, but I feel really how the mind becomes different, and I didn't have time to read.
Yeah.
So it comes so slowly. I think, what is this? Yeah? So my Guru said, we must feed we must feed the mind at proper times,
Yeah.
with the proper things, and otherwise, like in the zoo, don't feed. So,
Yeah. Very nice. My spiritual master was telling recently, like, read as much as you can, because whenever you read, you bring inputs from the scriptures in your consciousness, and then it's much more easy to be Krishna conscious. I heard once that Govinda Prabhu, disciple of Radhanath Swami, read like 8 to 10 times a day, but maybe small amount of time, but read, and not only reading, but pondering about what we read, to really try to understand what I read and to reflect on what we read, because this is actually strengthening the intelligence, and the intelligence is over the mind. So when the mind is starting to speak as false guru, when we have the intelligence strong enough, then we can say, no, I will not listen to that. And then we have the strength. We are over the mind, and we have the strength to choose what we want to think or not, and to sort out, not to just stupidly listen the voice of the false guru without noticing and getting in the wrong track. Okay. And the last thing, to hear about Krishna. And it's interesting because this pastime of false guru is mentioned. You mentioned with Putana, the lila of Putana. And any one of you know who was Putana in her previous life?
She was the sister of Bali Maharaj.
She was the sister of Bali Maharaj, which fits very much with the pastime that we are. And when the sister of Bali Maharaj, she saw Bali Maharaj coming, she just felt so much, how you say, Vatsalya Bhav, so much motherly affection. This small dwarf is so cute. And she felt, oh, I would like to give him my breast milk. I would like to feed him with milk. But then when Vamanadev took the whole kingdom of Bali Maharaj, her brother, she felt, oh, what this rascal, he took everything away from my brother, so I will feed him milk, but I will also feed him poison. And then in her next life, she came as Putana. And it is described that Putana was actually looking very intense. She had matted hairs. sharp teeth, and she was actually expert in drinking the blood of small children. And when Maharaj Parikshit heard that, he became afraid. So when we hear that, we don't get very afraid. But Parikshit Maharaj was hearing so carefully, he became himself afraid. And then Shukadev Goswami said, no, don't worry, don't worry. When Krishna is there and Bhakti is there, there is nothing to fear about. So Putana was sent by the Lila Shakti of the Lord and invited by death personified in Vrindavan. And she flew on a stick, like a witch used to do, to Gokul village. And in the purport, Prabhupada said that still in some place of West India or North India, I don't remember, there are still some flying on their sticks. And Bhakti Chaitanya Swami said, so if you go there, watch out. So she disguised herself as a young girl of 16 years old, having some beautiful malika flower in her hair. She looked so extremely beautiful that when she arrived to the house of Nanda Maharaj, where she wanted to go and kill Krishna, everyone thought she is the goddess of fortune. They all said, yes, please come in. And she went directly, like this. She was like how you say, I think I should have written here, like a terrorist. She was in disguise. She wanted to make a big havoc. She wanted to kill Krishna. She was clear in her motives, and she was now entering the rooms. And she, when she entered, she saw Mother Yasoda, and she tricked Mother Yasoda by speaking to her. She said, "Oh Yashoda, you have become so hard-hearted because you leave your son on the bed and you take care of other duties. You should actually take care of him. So because you are not caring for him good enough, I will take care of your child, and I will give him the breast milk from me, and my breast milk is like nectar, and I will give strength to your boy." Mother Yasoda, sure, go ahead. So she came in front of the bed of baby Krishna, and it is said that this bed had white sheets that were like foam of the ocean of milk. And Krishna, who is very bluish, was on this bed, and he looked like a small emerald that was sprouting out of field of camphor. Very, very beautiful. And when Putana saw Krishna, she understood that here was a very powerful personality. But at the same time, she saw Krishna and she understood he has the power to destroy the entire world. He has the power to kill anyone he wants. But at the same time, she saw he's so fragile and so small. So she was like in the between, should I try to kill him or should I stop? What should I do? And at that time, actually it is said that Krishna was looking like a very, very strong fire hiding under ashes that you cannot see. And so although she saw Krishna that was so beautiful and tender, Putana was very cruel. She was like a sword hidden in a soft cloth, because she was disguised as a very beautiful lady. So Krishna thought, because she has a bad intention and she come to me, still she want to give me something. So I will accept. Even her intention is not good, she want to give me something, I will accept. There was the story, I think it's Radha Govinda Swami explained this story, that there was a beggar going door to door, and he came to a place, he was asking for food, and in one place they say the people were not liking beggars, so they gave to the beggar some ashes from a fire, like ashes, And the beggar said, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And the person was surprised of his good reaction. So he said, "Why are you happy to get ashes?" And the beggar said, "You give me today ashes, tomorrow ashes. After that, because you are giving, your heart will change. And instead of giving me ash, you will give me cash." So Krishna thought, okay, anyway, you want to give me something, even though something you want to give me is not good, I will accept it. But Putana was still hesitating. Should I try to kill him or not? And at that time, Krishna, what did Krishna do? He closed his eyes. And there are few reasons why Krishna closed his eyes. Anyone know any of those reasons? Yes?
One reason is that he, also his that she was a woman, that he should not, that Krishna should not do harm to women.
Yeah. And not only woman, but mother. He thought she's coming like my mother, and I will kill her. That's not nice. So he closed his eyes. Okay.
I think one was also that he couldn't see her, like kind of like this, or wanted to see her when kind of that because she was so cruel.
Yeah, yeah.
And my question is, so has she like in this moment also some motherly affection as well, or is it just like, is it kind of mixed again, like before, or is it just like very bad now, like this incarnation now is very like super cruel, not like any more mixed with some Vatsalya Rasa. So this is interesting to know.
I would say it's mixed because Krishna is all attractive at the same time, and she is in a mixed feeling. Should I kill him or not? And he looks so beautiful and so helpless at the same time. So I guess there is some mixture. I did not hear like commentary or answer, Shastric answer on that, but that would be my guess. And yes, one of the reasons he closed his eyes because she was a demon, and it's not nice to look at demon. And Bhakti Chaitanya Swami said sometimes in the airports you see picture of people, wanted people, like the people who we have to be afraid of, or in newspaper, and he said better you don't look at their face because it's like carrying some very negative energy. He closed his eyes also to give her confidence because he wanted these pastimes to happen, and if he will keep his beautiful eyes open, she might actually fall in love and not do what she was supposed to do. So he closed his eyes. And the last, similar, he closed his eyes because his glance is making everything auspicious. And she was going to do something inauspicious, and it had to happen for the beauty of the pastime. So he said, better I close my eyes, so the rest I just put everything auspicious, and there will be no pastime. So better to do. So when he closed his eyes, Putana got her strength. She took Krishna on her lap, and she started to feed Krishna with the breast of her milk, which was actually smeared with poison. Huh? And when Krishna started to drink, all the Brishbasis were looking, and all Brishbasis were in ecstasy. Look, Krishna is now drinking from the goddess of fortune. But Krishna then started here. He was very, very small, very, very tiny. Did you see the hands of a newborn child? So just so small. But with his small hands, he started to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze very strongly the breast of Putana. And he started to drink the milk and started to drink the life hair of Putana. And Putana was, wow, so painful. She screamed and she ran out of the house, Krishna hanging still on the breast of Putana, and she became like big. She had to reassume her form, like big, and she crashed on the ground, and the earth was shaking, and she actually fell in the direction of Mathura. And because she became like so huge, she actually fell on the tree, the orchard, we say orchards of Kamsa, and destroy all the trees, apple, orange trees of Kamsa's garden. And everyone was amazed by what was happening. they were looking at this huge form of Bhutana, and they were, of course, looking for Krishna. Where is Krishna? And Shukadev Goswami gives descriptions of how the body of Bhutana looked. It looks like, actually, I think I have it even here. Her hair were looking red like copper. Her eyes were like deep well. Her nostrils were like caves, teeth like plow, and abdomen like a dried up lake. And Krishna was still on the breast of Bhutana. And the Brijbasi came and were looking for Krishna, and they could not see so well where Krishna could be. But then they saw Krishna on the top of the breast of Bhutana, and Krishna looked like he was on a small mountain, like he was a blue cloud stuck on the peak of a mountain. Beautiful, huh? And then they saw Krishna was there, so some cowboy, they climbed on the body of Bhutana and they passed from one hand to other Krishna down the body of Bhutana, and then they gave it to Mother Yashoda, who got her life back. But Krishna, actually, when Krishna was still on the breast of Bhutana, on the peak of the mountain, he was a little bit insecure. He was thinking, oh, maybe I did something wrong here. Everyone was just so scared. But then Krishna said, milk is life. And she came to give me her milk. So I drank her life. So it should be all right. It should be everything okay with my... She came to give me milk, which is life. So I took the milk and life. So it should be everything all right. So they are actually very, very beautiful descriptions. Especially I like very much from Kavikanapur and Nanda Vrindavan Champul, very poetic and visual expression. And then they decided to burn the body of Bhutana, and it chopped her up, and imagine with the size of the body, it must have been weeks of labors to and then they burnt the body of Bhutana, who was actually smelling extremely good. It was smelling like Aguru, because she had been purified by the touch of Krishna. So this is the story, and it is said like the names, there are many different names of the Lord that have different potencies. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have invested different potencies in your name. There are also different potencies in the pastimes of the Lord. And the potency of this particular pastime is to protect us from the false guru. And it is said that Bhutana was making a show to nourish. She came like if she wanted to nourish Krishna, but she wanted to kill him. And that's the show of the false guru. He might show that, yes, I want you good, I want to give you something good, but the intention behind is wrong. I was thinking sometimes for those of us who have like eating habits disorder, if you can say like this, or like very much to eat, sometimes the false guru, let's say, you have to eat because otherwise it gets spoiled. It's not good to throw food, so you should eat. It's maybe for me at least sometimes it comes like this. So hearing from this pastime, it might help us to not follow the voice of the false guru, and developing this again, like we had in the beginning of this point of Shukracharya having other agenda behind what he wanted, and how it's good in our life to be introspective, to see what other agenda we have behind the activities that we do, and correct and adjust it so that we come closer and closer to pure devotional service in our activities. In the same way, we need actually to be very cautious of the thoughts that we nourish, that we keep, that we follow, and decide when it's the voice of the false guru who might bring us to criticizing, comparing, complaining, judging people. That there we have the strength to decide, no, those thoughts I'm not following. They are not going to help me in my devotional life. So this is maybe a takeaway for today, to be a little bit more introspective, a little bit more watching the thoughts of our mind, and choosing what thoughts we nourish and what thoughts we follow, and not following the one that are not bringing us closer to Krishna. But that's what I tried to put together for today. Thank you for your attention. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sure.
Before going to this first guru topic, you were mentioning about so when the motivation is not right, we should adjust our mentality. So how to adjust and how to make this motivation right?
Okay, let's say you are the wrong motivation. Or would you have an example of a wrong?
Example you mentioned is like also convenient. So with that, I will go to I will stay for the kirtan. For example, nobody is here, but like the motivation is like to be one who is here, but not to be there.
Okay, I mean, it's also good motivation. Let me go to the temple because no one is there, and because it's connected, I will anyway give pleasure to the Lord because no one is there. It can be good, but sometimes there might be enough devotees in the temple that you might think, okay, let me go away because there is anyway enough people in the temple, so that will not be ideal. But anyway, you see the thought, you observe the thought, and then you just correct. You say, no, actually, I will stay here now, even though there is enough devotees and all things can, because I want to give pleasure to the Lord with my singing. So let's say in the option of I do this service to that devotee because I expect this devotee to do something for me later, then also you can say I will depend on Krishna if the devotee will do it later or not to me. I don't do what I do now for that. I do now because I want to serve the devotee and I want to please the devotee. So you watch, you see the mistake, and then you correct mentality adjustment and say, no, okay, I will do it in the proper way. And often we have fears that, okay, if I don't do that, this, maybe it will not work, or the devotee will not be favorable toward me, and I will not be able to do my service. But there we have to go the Bali Maharaj way. We have to go to the place. Maybe I take a risk. Maybe it will not work out. But ultimately, I depend on Krishna. I don't try to buy people or to buy devotees in some way so that they will help me after to do something. It's sometimes a risk but we can feel I will depend on Krishna. Not meaning that we should always try to serve and please the devotee. Just we have to check that we don't do that just because we expect then the devotee to be kind with me and help me with that. There I think it's good to go Bali Maharaj path and depend on the Lord. And for sure the Lord see our endeavors, and for sure the Lord will help us. And I see sometimes I also have fear, if this devotee don't do that for me, what, I have no one else who can do that for me, and how it will work, and things like this. But those fear are, this is Shukracharya approach. We want the Bali Maharaj approach. I depend on the Lord, and He will give me the intelligence. He will give me someone who will be able to help me. If this doesn't work here, it will work there. And I think it's good to observe and to try as much as possible to do it in the pure way, without expectations. Actually, expectations are also like so many way you can get troubles with the mind, because you expect things that do not come the way you want, and yeah. I was reading my diaries in India, and at one time I wrote "expect the worst," and then you will be happy in any case, because it will anyway be better than what you expected. It's okay.
And one more. And how? So when you catch yourself, you're like trying to turn your other direction. But how to, if you're catching, like, so we have like the same weaknesses, and we are often like stepping to the same thoughts, and how not to, because sometimes I'm noticing that I'm like doing this just mechanically. So okay, I got this thought. Okay, I'll do this for the pleasure of the Lord. Like, yeah, I said this, and then I go. So like, how to deepen this, like, but not be used
So the question will be if you might do it in a mechanical way, but not from the heart, and how to do it from the heart. To do it from the heart, you need to be in a free stress zone. You need to be in a peaceful environment, and then you can really connect with the heart and do it with the. I mean, you can also do it while doing other things, but it's more difficult. So, for example, also in those mentality adjustment, like if you come toward the deities, especially during the day, it's usually extremely peaceful. I mean, now the decorations are going on, but that you make a time where you will pray, and prayer is the main answer, because also what strength do we have to adjust our mentality ourselves? It might not always work, but with prayers and doing it in a honest way, then that it makes. So the mind needs to come to a peaceful. So when you see, and especially when you feel you are a little bit out of comfort zone, or the false guru is preaching to you and giving you trouble, then come to the deities and pray. Because ultimately it is said that we hear Krishna kills this anatta, that anatta, remove this anatta, because we have no strength to do it on our own. Therefore, actually, we need Krishna to do it. So this is definitely the right guru speaking here. Go to Krishna, pray to Krishna, depend on Krishna, and it will. But you need to be in a space where you can connect. Often when there are too many things going on, or when there is too much raja or too much tama, then it's difficult to connect in a deeper way. Later on, as we become more and more pure, we can connect while doing things. We can connect much more quicker, and much more deeper. But often we still need to have times in peace. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your attention. Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Nice.